Now on CoastTV News.
Safety Start, a new website in Delaware, makes school emergency planning simpler, what it offers and who it's for. Tougher rules. One local town wants more power to punish problem businesses. What could change and why? And breaking tragedy, at least one police officer dead and others injured after a shooting in Manhattan. What we know so far.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
Police are trying to figure out what led to a deadly shooting in Midtown Manhattan tonight. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Christina DeRobertis. 6 people are dead tonight, including an NYPD officer and the suspected shooter as a result of that active shooter incident on Park Avenue in New York City earlier this evening. According to law enforcement officials, the shooting happened at 345 Park Avenue, and it was carried out by a lone gunman. NBC's Stephen Romo is in New York with the latest.
It's still an active scene with the New York City Police Department here after a harrowing event unfolded around 6 p.m. Eastern time. This building on Park Avenue, 345 Park, houses a lot of companies, the NFL, along with investment firms, banking centers. A lot of people frequent this area each and every day. That gunfire started and people fanned out running. We do have a latest update on the number of dead. We know that 6 people have lost their lives here. That includes 4 civilians, a police officer, and the gunman, who police say died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. We know that shooter has been identified as Shane Devin Tamura. He's 27 years old, of Las Vegas.
The building's security camera footage shows the shooter enter the lobby, turn right, and immediately open fire on an NYPD officer. He then shoots a woman who took cover behind a pillar and proceeds through the lobby, spraying it with gunfire.
We also talked to several witnesses who saw people being removed from the building. A harrowing situation, a lot left for the New York City Police Department to do as they continue this investigation and to interview all of the witnesses who were able to see this unfold. Stephen Romo, NBC News.
And as Stephen Romo mentioned in that report, the shooter has been identified. Here is a picture of him that's being shared by law enforcement right now. Again, the specific motive for the shooting remains under investigation. Back home now, the Delaware Emergency Management Agency is stepping up school safety. DEMA launching a new Delaware School Safety Center. It's an expansion of its comprehensive school safety program. The center offers a one-stop website with resources to support schools, parents, and first responders in planning for emergencies. It includes tools for training, safety planning templates, and reporting tools. According to DEMA, it's all designed to help schools prevent and respond to crisis. New tonight, 2 proposed hotels in Rehoboth Beach are moving forward. The Rehoboth Planning Commission gave the green light on the Bellhaven and Atlantic Crown hotels. The 4-story Bellhaven would go above the Candy Kitchen on the boardwalk. The plan includes 105 hotel rooms, commercial space, an underground parking garage. The future Atlantic Crown Hotel expected to go next to the Atlantic Sand Hotel on Baltimore Avenue. That 4-story building includes 55 hotel rooms along with a restaurant and a bar. Early voting continues today in Sussex County. It was for the District 20 special election, the seat vacated by Stell Parker Selby when she resigned in June after a long-term absence. And according to the Delaware Department of Elections, over 2,586 people have voted so far, with nearly 400 absentee ballots. And if you want to vote early, here is how you can do that. People can head to the polls anytime from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. on July 28th and 29th. Then from July 30th to August 3rd, early voting runs from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. This at Lewis Elementary and Mariner Middle Schools. Election Day is August 5th, with polls open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. You can find information about each of the candidates on our website, coasttv.com. Well, the Delaware Department of Agriculture announced that the public no longer needs to report sightings of spotted lanternflies. The state has been working to monitor populations of the bug since it was first detected in Pennsylvania almost 10 years ago. The department says that although reporting is no longer required, management and mitigation efforts, those are still important. And we're going to take a live look outside now into Lewis and turn things to our first alert chief meteorologist, Paul Williams. Good evening, Paul.
Good evening to you, Christina. Right now we have calm conditions. It's relatively clear at this point. We're at 76 degrees, a little bit on the cool side in Milford right now. And we're going to drop down to stay in the mid-70s, actually going to the early morning hours. Here's our biggest breaking story from a scientific standpoint. We have an air quality alert that's going into effect for us. Now, this is inclusive of the entire state. Now, take a look at this. We're actually at a level of yellow right now, which is actually moderate, but we're expected to be downgraded to orange, unhealthy for sensitive groups, as early as tomorrow. And so that's going to exacerbate the problem for folks who have chronic breathing problems. Air quality is going to be problematic. 77 degrees right now in Dagsboro, Redden, as well as Bridgeville, and 77 degrees right now in Salisbury, and it feels pretty close to that right now. Here's a look at our live radar. We're staying relatively clear for right now with high pressure and control of our weather, and we're going to stay clear for the next couple of days, which includes a problem with too much sunlight, believe it or not, Christina.
All right, thank you, Paul. Well, now we'll go to Lewis. You're looking now at the Army Reserve Center on Savannah Road. It's a building that has been vacant for years now. The plan for the building to become a new municipal campus for the city, the police, and the Board of Public Works. At a city meeting today, city officials said they will only accept the land if they 100% know that it's environmentally clean. And as Emma Aiken reports, that testing process is what's happening now.
As Bill Landon looks at the Army Reserve Center in Lewis.
It brings back tremendous memories.
The place that started Landon's military journey, now embarking on a new type of service. The now vacant building is set to become a new municipal campus for the city, the police, and the Board of Public Works.
It is a rare jewel. It's 5 acres of land, so that they are able to bring a lot of their community, like police and, their business offices into this facility. And also it's close to the schools here, too, so if they had any emergencies or anything like that, they'd be able to easily react to it.
The city has completed phase 1 of an environmental study. Now they want to go after grant money for phase 2 to ensure the building is safe and clean before entering the design phase. For Tracy Marino in the Drake Knoll neighborhood, the building is basically in her backyard.
I just hope that it's planned, thoughtfully, keeping in mind that this is a residential neighborhood. And so that if there is going to be a lot of municipal activity, I would hope that they would be conscientious about the neighbors.
From launching soldiers to serving citizens, the building's next mission nearing closer.
And that was Emma Aiken reporting. Something else important to note here, several people we spoke with about this today shared concerns about the land becoming townhomes or apartments, but the city emphasized in their meeting today that the arrangement between the city and the Army says the building has to be a municipal campus. It can't be used for affordable housing or anything else. And this brings us to our CoastTV poll tonight. We want to know how you think the former Army Reserve building should be used. Looking at the results, 16% say a parking garage, 51% say a community center. No one says other, 3% say museum, 30% say a new city complex. We want to know what you think. Head over to coasttv.com or use our mobile app and you can vote yourself. One town in Worcester County is looking to tighten the leash on code enforcement. A proposed change to Berlin's town code now on the table. It would give the mayor and the council more authority over businesses. For instance, if a business proves to be a repeat offender, officials could then withhold the renewal of that business license, or in extreme cases, they could revoke it. Officials say the current code makes it tough to enforce rules and regulations.
This is one of those things where it's something that we can have on the books, but hopefully and probably we won't really need. So that's the goal. It's just it's adding teeth to our code, and hopefully we won't really need it.
Now, the first reading of the proposal happened tonight, so it will still be quite some time before anything is finalized in Berlin. Well, like something out of a movie this morning, dozens of ponies walking along the beach. But it's not a movie. It's Chincoteague's northern herd ponies being rounded up and joining the southern herd just 48 hours ahead of the 100th Chincoteague Pony Swim, a spectacle you're only going to see here on Delmarva.
At sunrise on the shoreline, saltwater cowboys round up the remaining Chincoteague ponies ahead of this big swim on Wednesday.
They are in the water now.
Crowds packed the beach to see ponies rounded up and taken into the Southern Corral. It's a beautiful and beloved start to Pony Penning Week, which dates back 100 years.
Just watching the evolution from the original saltwater cowboys to today, it's interesting just to see all these young kids that started doing the pony penning and everything.
Now, tomorrow is when there is going to be vet checks for the ponies. It happens 3 times a year, another time in the spring, also the fall. Wednesday is the big swim where the ponies go across the channel. Then Thursday is the auction where ponies are sold for population control and to raise money for the fire department who manages the herd. And if you want to watch the pony swim but you can't make it, listen up. Coverage begins at 7 a.m. Wednesday on DSN and anywhere on DSN+. You can watch live as those saltwater cowboys guide the wild ponies across the Assateague Channel to Chincoteague Island. You don't want to miss it. The tradition, the excitement, the magic of the pony swim, it's only on DSN. And we are just getting started. We still have more news coming up, like a busy road closed in Queen Anne's County after deadly crashes. Officials are stepping up safety there. We'll tell you what to expect. And coming up, the Oxford Ferry in Talbot County is closed during peak season. How that's impacting travelers.
Here's a look at your Bay forecast. A couple of days of sweltering conditions for Tuesday and Wednesday before we start to cool down a little bit Thursday, and then there's a bit of a storm headed our way by Friday. Your full forecast in 60 seconds. We are continuing to enjoy relatively quiet conditions throughout the rest of the late night hours, but keep in mind, we do have concerns with air quality. Really, believe it or not, an elevated UV index, and then the heat and humidity is kicking in a major way for the next couple of days. So although the weather will look innocent and delightful, and it will, but there's just a little bit of ominous tinge to behind the scenes of all that beautiful sunshine that we're going to be expecting. So our Ocean City Gyrotech camera, we're holding at 79, somewhat cool degrees. Dew point temperature 72, so lots of moisture still in the atmosphere at this point. Mainly clear skies. I mean, we're looking for it to continue to stay mainly clear, with temperatures not nudging too much beyond the mid-70s, generally speaking, particularly for those that are along the beach towns. Bethany Beach right now at 80 degrees, 81 Rehoboth Beach 82 in Lewis, but as you go farther inland, we're in the 70s in some locations. For example, 76 degrees in Gumboro as well as Laurel, and 76 degrees right now in Del Mar. Now, 76 for the air temperature, 73 for the dew point temperature. So that's a lot of moisture because that dew point temperature and that air temperature is really close to one another. So the mugginess of the day is going to begin to kick in for the next few days. Speaking of the mugginess, for example, we're going to stay very humid to miserable for really most of the work week till we get to Friday going into Saturday, when it will drop dramatically as a result of some storms we're expecting. A cold front's going to push through, and it's going to dramatically change how it feels to where we might actually feel a little chilly late at night. But we got to get to the weekend before we talk about all that. Right now, we have the heat and humidity on the front burner. Del Mar right now, Del Mar staying mainly clear. We have high pressure controlling our weather for the most part, keeping us clear and uneventful. But here's the first concern. Remember, I'm giving you the story behind the story for right now. One thing to that sunshine is that the air quality alert has been issued for the entire state of Delaware. This means that we're going to have deteriorating air quality conditions. We're already at a yellow level. We're going to drop down to orange, which is bad for those who have chronic breathing problems. It's unhealthy for sensitive groups. Elderly, those who have breathing problems. If you use a tank to breathe, that's going to be a problem for you as well. We're looking for temperatures in the 90s, mid-90s, so whatever ice cream you have, you better eat it fast because it's going to melt quickly. Now, another side issue with all this sunshine is the abundance of sunshine with little to no cloud cover. So we're looking at the very high for our UV index, so we're going to be just a step below extreme. Overnight lows in the mid-70s, so we're looking for it to stay hazy, hot, and humid, stifling heat index up to 110. Then late in the week, we're watching out for stormy conditions. So tomorrow, we start at 94 in Georgetown and Millsboro, for example, 94 in Cambridge and Vienna, Easton and Denton, and we're looking for a high of 93 in Berlin, Snow Hill, Pocomoke City. Now, along the coast, not quite as warm, between 88 and 92, should generally do it with the winds pushing primarily out of the northwest. But those future feels like we see flashes of 104 in here for 2 days in a row. So it's going to be humid. By the way, our Chincoteague Pony Swim coverage kicks in for DSN on all of the platforms. Don't forget that. Looking for 89 for Wednesday. And another thing is we'll have some scattered showers that will begin to slide through on Friday going into Saturday, and that's when the temperatures will plummet like crazy. Here's a look at your extended forecast. Listen, a couple of real hot, crazy hot days, Tuesday, Wednesday. We get some storms on Friday, and look at that. We dropped down to 62 and 63 degrees over the weekend. That's chilly, Christina.
That is chilly. Thank you, Paul. Well, a bump in the road, or maybe a bump in the water, for America's oldest privately owned ferry. The ferry, known for taking cars and people across the Tread Avon River in Talbot County. Locals say they're surprised it's closed during its peak season, and they have hope it's going to reopen in the near future.
I hope it's open. That's what I really hope it's open. You know, and but it's you know, it's always been open ever since I was a kid. It never closed up during the summertime.
And you can find information on when the ferry will reopen on social media, also through the ferry's automated phone number. Meanwhile, a busy road in Queen Anne's County has been indefinitely closed. The State Highway Administration says the median crossover from Route 405 to Route 301 has been closed as a safety-focused decision. This comes after 2 deadly crashes there last week that killed 3 people. Queen Anne's County Commissioner Jack Wilson says going forward, commissioners have written a letter to the state asking for new solutions, including more speed checks, also traffic lights.
It's well up the ladder in terms of importance to get something done there. We have been told that the infrastructure for a light electrically is in place.
Now, SHA says emergency vehicle access will be available at all times on the crossover, but right now there's no timeline on when it's going to reopen. Coming up next, President Trump facing tough questions about Jeffrey Epstein while abroad, plus Ghislaine Maxwell's legal fight goes to the Supreme Court. And coming up, why Spirit Airlines plans to furlough hundreds of pilots. We'll be right back.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
Spirit Airlines is planning to furlough hundreds of pilots due to its financial struggles and a reduced flying schedule. In a statement Monday, Spirit announced 270 pilots will be furloughed and 140 more will be demoted. The airline says the move is necessary to return to profitability. The new downgrades from captain to first officer will begin October 1st. The furloughs will take effect on November 1st. Well, when a Delta flight from Minneapolis arrived in San Francisco this weekend, law enforcement was waiting and they arrested the plane's co-pilot. Detectives arresting 34-year-old Rustam Bagwagar. The sheriff's department says an investigation began after receiving a report of sex crimes against a child. Bagwagar is charged with 5 counts of oral copulation with a child under 10 years of age. Bail was set at $5 million. Jeffrey Epstein's accomplice and former girlfriend is working to get her sex trafficking conviction overturned. Monday, she urged the Supreme Court to take up her pending appeal. Meanwhile, as Sherelle Hubbard reports, President Donald Trump cannot escape the Epstein controversy.
Despite a trip abroad, President Donald Trump still can't escape questions about Jeffrey Epstein. In Scotland Monday, Trump took time out of meeting with British Prime Minister Keir Starmer to answer questions about Epstein, trying to put distance between himself and the late convicted sex trafficker.
For years, I wouldn't talk to Jeffrey Epstein. I wouldn't talk because he did something that was inappropriate. I never had the privilege of going to his island. And I did turn it down.
Trump also denied a report by the Wall Street Journal that he sent Epstein a birthday greeting in 2003 that included a drawing of a naked woman and his signature.
I don't do drawings. I'm not a drawing person.
Meanwhile, Epstein's former girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, is urging the Supreme Court to take up her pending appeal after a New York-based appellate court ruled against her. Despite being sentenced to 20 years in federal prison for carrying out a years-long scheme to groom and sexually abuse underage girls with Epstein, her attorneys argue that she should have been covered by a non-prosecution agreement Epstein made with federal authorities to plead guilty. They say, "We are appealing not only to the Supreme Court, but to the president himself to recognize how profoundly unjust it is to scapegoat Ghislaine Maxwell for Epstein's crimes." When asked, Trump didn't rule clemency out.
Well, I'm allowed to give her a pardon, but nobody's approached me with it.
I'm Sherelle Hubbard reporting.
And earlier this month, President Trump sued the Wall Street Journal over the report that claimed he sent Epstein that birthday letter in 2003. The newspaper says it stands by its reporting and denies any wrongdoing. As for Ghislaine Maxwell, the Supreme Court will likely decide this fall whether to take up the case. Coming up in sports tonight, DSN's Kayla Santiago sits down with the directors of the Governor's Challenge to talk about the brand new tournament coming to Salisbury in the fall. And coming up, a view of Ocean City. A new report details visitor numbers here on the coast.
Here's a look at your golf forecast as you're teeing it up for tomorrow. Remember, you need to stay hydrated because temperatures will be in the mid-90s and it's going to feel like 100 or worse.
In Ocean City, a tourism report shows a drop in visitors. The most recent data is through May of this year. But when compared to previous years, it is important to note the group that conducted this study said they changed how they collected data this year, which could attribute to the number change. Others say revenue for occupancy in town slightly increased compared to last May.
I don't think that report is 100% accurate. We do feel like that May was a great season, great event this year. We had a great, third concert, the Boardwalk Rock.
Now, Perlozzo tells CoastTV News that he and his team are developing plans to help the tourism industry even more there in Ocean City. And it's worth noting OC Tourism tells us the way they collected data in 2024 and 2025 was different. In May 2024, the report included anyone who came in and out of Ocean City, but in 2025, it was more specific to just visitors. President Donald Trump starts the week in Scotland with a key meeting as a big trade deadline looms at the end of the week, and economic data may show the impact of Trump's trade policies. Karen Kaifa reports from the White House.
President Donald Trump still in Scotland on Monday, where he hosted the UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer at his golf resort. The two leaders talking about the hunger situation in Gaza and also their recent trade deal. Trump came into Monday's meeting on the heels of announcing a framework deal with the European Union that places a 15% tariff on most goods coming from the 27-member EU and lowers the risk of a transatlantic trade war between two entities that exchanged nearly $2 trillion worth of goods and services last year. Trump on Monday also touted the framework the U.S. and UK came to last month.
You got it done, so I want to congratulate you on that, and it's a great deal for both. It brings unity. We didn't need unity, but it brings us even closer together, I think. It's good for both parties.
Meanwhile, key members of Trump's trade team in Sweden Monday for a new round of talks aimed at extending the current trade truce between the U.S. and China that has temporarily dialed back triple-digit tariffs until August 12th. The White House faces another self-imposed deadline on Friday, August 1st, for settling tariff rates for more than 200 U.S. trade partners. The deadline will cap a blockbuster week that will also see an interest rate decision from the Federal Reserve on Wednesday and the second quarter GDP report, the look at U.S. economic growth during April, May, and June, and the July jobs report on Friday morning. Also on the agenda for Trump and Starmer on Monday, the increasingly dire humanitarian situation in Gaza. Trump pushed back on comments by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu that there is no starvation there and said the U.S. will set up food centers. At the White House, I'm Karen Kaifa.
What's going on, everybody? If you're a Hoops fan, you are going to want to listen up. We have an extremely special announcement coming your way from November 21st to 23rd, a first time ever. Jay's Wycomico Youth and Civic Center is going to put on a show.
Governor's Challenge is expanding to the college level, so we'll be doing Gov Challenge Collegiate.
Salisbury University really headlining this. You guys are able to bring two really good teams on the men's and women's side. We'll start with the men's team. Tyler Ball, of course, a local standout who played in Governor's Challenge with the Salisbury School and is now going to be able to compete at the college level with Salisbury University. What does that mean for a program like you guys and the local kid who's able to experience that as well?
He really is an Eastern Shore young man. He loves his community. Tyler's never met a gym he didn't like. He's an ultimate competitor. And then as far as just the event, just really excited about it. This was definitely something that I've been picking James's brain about, and on like how can we maybe do something like this for Division III basketball, both men's and women. And he said, yeah, we can we can do that. We could actually do something better.
You guys do have a new commit from Cape Henlopen High School. Could you touch a little bit on that commit as well?
Even as a coach, I was there recruiting our incoming commit, Faith Ray from Cape Henlopen. I think she's going to have a great career for us. We're excited to have her. We're excited to have another local talent with us.
It's the growth that we're aiming for in the collegiate space and growing our tournaments that we currently host here in Wicomico County.
We're looking forward to it as well. Once again, November 21st through the 23rd. Thank you guys so much for your time.
Thanks, Gail.
Coming up next, fair favorites. What did fair goers love most this year? We've got the winners. Well, as you might know, the Delaware State Fair wrapped up this weekend, and the results are in for the State Fair's fan favorites. It was a mock election. The people voted for best fair food as ice cream, best attraction as carnival rides and games, best livestock as dairy cattle, and best show as the demolition derby.
Well, that's the fun at the fair. In Salisbury, we're in the 70s, 77. Traffic's still going. There we go. Pick up the car. That's right there. 75 actually by 3 o'clock and mostly clear skies. Our umbrella giveaway winner, Nancy Moore of Ocean View. Congratulations, courtesy of Paul Davis Restoration Home Remodeling. If you want to keep up with your forecast, call our weather line, 443-880-9100. Your forecast is just a call away, sponsored by the law offices of Brogstead, Mandalis, and Federico. And finally, here's a look at your exclusive 10-day forecast. Sweltering 95, steamy 94, still hot 90 degrees on Thursday, but then rain hits Friday, and over the weekend, we go into the 70s for the highs and the low 60s, if not 50s in some areas for the overnight low.
Brr, it's going to be cold. Thanks, Paul. Thanks for joining us, too, for Coast TV News at 11 tonight. You can always find more local news and local weather on our Coast TV News app. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon's up next, and we'll see you tomorrow for Coast TV News at 5 a.m. Have a great night.